All right, Patrick, thank you. On President Donald Trump's 100th day in office, consumer confidence has hit a 5-year low, according to a reading released today.
And Karen Caifa is in Washington with a look at where President Trump stands on his economic campaign promises as he reaches this benchmark in his second term. Hey, Karen.
Hey there, Courtney and Alex. President Trump took off from Washington this afternoon for Michigan, a state that was key to his election in November and where his economic message really rang through. Now, some of his tariff plans could actually be working against some of the campaign promises he made.
The White House touting President Donald Trump's economic agenda on day 100 of his second term.
President Trump is delivering on his promises to lower costs for American families and businesses.
But research nonprofit The Conference Board's April reading of consumer confidence hit its lowest level in almost 5 years, with tariffs top of mind for consumers surveyed.
Basically, anyone who's making a big purchase, whether it's an air conditioner, a refrigerator, a washer, a dryer, is thinking much harder about tariffs than they wish they ever had to, and they're not quite sure what to do or when.
The White House touted progress in things like job creation and labor force participation for those without a high school diploma since Trump took office, and slowing inflation. But Cardiff Garcia, editorial director for the Economic Innovation Group, says those indicators can lag.
Things look fine, but it doesn't mean that things actually are fine. It just takes some time for actual things that happen in the real economy to translate into those economic indicators.
Justin Wolfers, professor of economics and public policy at the University of Michigan, says the tariff uncertainty for both businesses and consumers could slow spending and the U.S. economy.
Lots of families are sitting around the kitchen table right now worried about the prospect of a recession. If that's the case, now's the time to save for a rainy day. Maybe pull back on that big purchase you were going to make. If that happens, consumers pull back on spending, that could be the first step towards a recession.
A reading of first quarter U.S. economic growth set to release Wednesday morning could foreshadow challenges ahead.
And in an announcement timed to his first 100 days rally in Michigan tonight, the White House also announced that President Trump is dialing back some of the tariffs impacting the auto industry, not getting rid of them entirely, but as the White House put it, giving auto manufacturers some time to adjust to those tariffs, especially that produce their autos here in the U.S. and have to get their parts from abroad. Alex and Courtney.
Now, Karen, also on the topic of tariffs, the White House has been hinting maybe some imminent deals in tariff negotiations. What are the latest developments there?
Yeah, well, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told reporters this morning that deals are in the works or negotiations are in the works with about 17 countries. And both he and President Trump hinted today that the first country to make a deal could be India. But the big tariff headline out of the White House today was, of course, the changes when it comes to auto tariffs. The White House said this was the result of conversations that President Trump had with automaker CEOs about how these were going to impact their ability to both produce autos here in the U.S. and also hire here in the U.S. So the White House describing this as a short-term reprieve to help automakers get used to those tariffs. The 25% tariff on imported cars will still remain in effect, and a 25% tariff on car parts coming into the United States set to take effect this weekend will still remain in place. But under President Trump's new plan, cars with 85% domestic content will be exempt from any tariffs. Still, that's a pretty high bar for automakers to clear. Alex and Courtney.
All right, thanks, Karen.